Okay, we have the coach here, and he will go straight to questions. We'll go right here in the front. Okay, here we go.
Hi, Coach. I'm Dick Cox with Indy Sports and Cox Sports Broadcasting. My question is, going into your second year, what are some of the biggest challenges that you have found in trying to build your program, and how do you feel like you're progressing in those areas?
I think the challenges of building anything is just having the toughness in the early part of the journey to get the flywheel turning. You know, and you have to separate yourself a little bit from some of the sting of the results, and you maintain a focus on where you're headed. And you know, I think we've done that effectively. I mean, I feel like we're on course, and every day we have to fight for that course. And there are, you know, a lot of external entities that want to judge you for where you are, and we just have to keep a disciplined focus on where we're headed. But I see that as fun and exciting and like energizing to me. Like I don't like back away from that challenge. And you know, the funnest part of it is the reward that's going to come from seeing our players have success, and we will. And so certainly the challenge inherent in falling short, but gives you the opportunity to bounce back, respond, and define who you want to be moving forward.
Coach to your left, front row.
Hey, Clark. Michael Cobble from WBRZ in Baton Rouge. Thanks for your words about Jimmy. We're getting Brian, obviously. You know Brian quite well. What are we getting in Brian Kelly?
Well, a proven winner, you know. I mean, and that's a friend and a mentor to me. You know, I think the world of Coach Kelly. I would not be here without him. You know, I think there are so many coaching mentors that you take on through a career. And yet I feel like my experience with him was kind of put the finishing touches on preparing, or I guess getting me as prepared as I could have been for this job. And I still learn from him. You know, I reflect back on his methodologies and the things that he did, and I find reason and meaning in those things now, more so even than I did as the defensive coordinator. And he's a guy I stay in close touch with, and excited for his success at LSU.
To your right on the fourth row.
Coach, Mike started his press conference talking about his suit and who he's wearing. How valuable is having that kind of personality leading the team, and do you want to say who you're wearing?
This suit is from ESQ. My friend Guy in Chicago sets me up. Mike is he's a dynamic person. He's a good person. He's got that depth of personality and toughness required to take ownership and take leadership. And keep in mind too, you know, is he has to earn that position every day. There's no guarantees given, and he knows that. But a year ago, it was Ken that had the job, you know, and the tough conversation was with Mike, and you know, his persistence through that frustration. Those moments are formative. You know, it's adversity that he had to fight through. And on the back end of that, there was some self-discovery that took place, and you know, we're fortunate to have him part of our program. And certainly, you know, he's got, again, the personality to really connect and drive the team forward. So we're glad to have him in that role.
On your left, second row.
Hey, Coach. Billy Derrick from Main Street Media and the Door Report in Nashville. With Barton Simmons by your side, you know, of course, one of your lifelong friends, how would you describe your program's approach to recruiting as a whole?
Well, you know, first of all, I'm fortunate to have Barton with me, and I obviously as the head coach, I think I've got just a really smart tactician that has a great perspective on evaluation and you know, projecting, you know, skills forward. I mean, he's exceptional that way. He can be contrarian in thought, meaning he likes taking the opposite approach or opposite opinion. And I think that's so valuable in an office setting, you know, that we just don't co-sign on each other. He's a real value add. I think on a personal level, I get to have, you know, one of my closest friends with me every day fighting to build the program together in a city that we love, that we grew up in. And, you know, that's certainly special. Our recruiting approach obviously is defined, first of all, by our identity, you know, at Vanderbilt. And we want to be really disciplined to stay true to that identity. And that doesn't mean that, we only go out and recruit, valedictorians or anything like that. We want to get people with diversity of experience, diversity of background. The common thread needs to be, at some level, an understanding of how important education is, and that'll be a part of their experience at Vanderbilt, a necessary part. Beyond that, we're looking for measurable traits. We want to know more about the players that we bring into our program, certainly than we don't know. And so when you talk about length and speed and range and production, we kind of bottle all that up to create a metric for our program that that gives us the opportunity to project success moving forward. So it's a I would say a scientific based. We want to be numbers driven, and also define the personality fit. The people out there, the young people out there that are looking for a substantive experience. Those are all parts of our recruiting formula.
Coach in the fourth row to your left.
Jamal Kennedy, WSFA 12 News in Montgomery, Alabama. Coach, B.J. Anderson's a kid who's had his last couple of years cut short because of injuries. Curious to see how you see him fitting into the team this year and what you think about his game.
I've got such a respect for B.J. He's battled adversity. He's a talented person. He's a talented player. One of the kind of great joys that I've had in my first year and a half in this job is watching him come out of his shell, watching him gain comfort with the program, seeing him start to flourish on a personal level. And we're looking forward to seeing all that carry over to the fall, because we think BJ could be has the potential to be a dominant presence at the corner position. And that's obviously invaluable when you talk about building a winning program. And so we need to give him room to develop too, just because he hasn't had the chance to play out a full season. But boy, are we glad to have him as a part of our program, and not just as a player, but as a person too.
In the front row on the left.
Hi, Coach. A.P. Stidham, WHEP, Foley, Alabama. Coach, I wanted to ask you about Tyler Steen and his skills he's bringing to Alabama. And I wanted to ask you also, why did you select these three players to represent Vanderbilt University at the 2022 SEC Media Days?
Well, we wish Tyler the very best and all the success moving forward. And obviously, he's a graduate of Vanderbilt, so he and I have a lot in common in that respect. But I'm gonna spend time talking about the team we have currently. The three guys that we chose to represent us here have all established a level of leadership within our program. That starts with their work ethic and their approach, their attitude to what we're building. Building something requires tough people, and these guys, all three of them, have a toughness, and they've battled adversity. They also love Vanderbilt, and that comes through in the way they approach their work every single day. That's work on campus or work in our building. And then also too, these are three productive players for us also. So we think this is a group that you're going to be able to see out in the field making plays and representing our football team at the highest level on the field, and then also doing that off the field. And when you make those decisions, you get to choose three, and there's like 20 guys that could be here representing this program, but those three happen to be three that have just separated themselves in those respects, and we wanted to honor that by giving them the opportunity to be here.
To your right on the back row.
Coach, you returned some experience on the defensive line, specifically Malik Lingham and Davion Davis. What do you expect to see from them this year, and what will their role be?
Well, the roles yet to define themselves. That'll be decided through fall camp. We want to be a competition-based program where our guys have to earn it every day. And so Davion's coming off an injury. He's still recovering. We're excited to get him back full tilt. He is a heartbeat of our program. He was with me a year ago in Birmingham. He's a leader for us, was a captain. We have the highest regard for him as a person and player, and excited for him to come back. I know he's energized. I think the word I'd use as far as expectations of them both is development, and I think that's necessary, right? We don't look at our season a year ago, maybe we saw flashes of production and success, but we know we have to get better. That includes, two of our, more experienced or seasoned players. With Malik, he's got the physical tools needed to be a dominant force. He's shown flashes of that last season. We have to get him to a level of consistency where he can come out and be the player that we know he can be. Again, you got a big heart there, a great kid and a valued member of our program that we need to help guide into consistency. And he's had a good summer, but we're excited for fall camp to be another test for him. And Coach Black has come in and done a great job with those guys in the defensive line, and I'm excited to see Coach's personality shine through on the field as well.
Here in the front row, Coach.
Coach, I've had the opportunity of asking several of the other coaches and players this question too, and gotten a variety of answers. But what is the most important thing that you would want people to know about you?
That I'm a husband and father first, and I think those are important qualities because, when in my role as head coach, I'm parenting right now 108, sons, and that kind of helps me gain perspective every day, and part of loving a team is understanding that accountability is important, that sometimes it's a swift redirection or a firm conversation, but we're gonna have fun competing together. We're gonna have fun in shared sacrifice and suffering. We're gonna approach our work with enthusiasm and spirit, and I'd like to think that's the same way I parent. But those are the defining qualities to me, and I think as I became a husband and became a father in my career, I noticed some internal shifts for me as a coach that just allow me to move forward with a little bigger picture perspective. And I can't lose that in my job, even though it's easy to sometimes. I think we always have to stay tethered to the people that we're aspiring to be, and make choices and behaviors and attitudes that help to actualize that.
Two final questions, the fourth row here.
You guys play week 0. How urgent is it to be ready to go right away? And then also, what would a successful season look like to you?
Week 0 is a challenge. Week 0 at Hawaii is a double challenge, right? So, we have a lot of work to do, and to use your word, urgent work, to make sure that we're ready when that ball is put down on a tee. And I think when you play week 0 and when you're traveling a long distance, there are a lot of things that go into performance in that game that go beyond your skill sets. And so, this next month is going to be huge for us. And yet, our season isn't just that one game. We want it to be the starting point from which we learn and grow and develop each week. As far as success goes for our season, we have one objective this fall, and that's to play at our highest level as a team, and that's it. And so we talk a lot about what that's going to look like. That's not just something that we, a phrase that we throw out, but we talk about what that looks like both in performance, what it looks like in preparation. Each unit has a tangible example of how this plays out day in and day out. And we believe that if we can reach that level of performance and then replicate it, so have enough ownership over it to replicate it, then we're going to see a shift in results. And we know if we don't take total ownership of our performance and all the things that we control within that performance, then every Saturday we're playing against two teams, the one across the field and the one that's on our sideline. And that's not a winning formula for anyone, but certainly not for a program that's in the early stages of a build. So we're going to be focused on us, and success is going to be when we feel like we're playing true to our identity, and we're playing together and playing hard and reaching that level of performance where we feel like we've maximized our potential.
Final question, Coach, second row.
And Mike referenced about how you guys are getting out to Hawaii a little bit earlier to kind of get acclimated. Is it important, though, because I know team building activities in the spring were important to this team, to get something more out of that trip than just like your general business road trip?
Oh, absolutely. We're going to use it as a chance to be off-site and to get to know each other more deeply. I mean, I think it's a it's an amazing setting to do that, and yet we have to keep, in the forefront of our mind the reason for our trip, and that's, to win a football game. And so there's a balance there, but I think the game will be played. I think the experience of being in Hawaii together as a team for a week, we'll draw on those connections through the course of a season, and I think it could be a great start to actualizing that identity that we want to play with, as the year moves forward.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Good
guys.
luck this season.